Hi guys, JesterBell is here, and for those who don't know, I'm still recovering from a dental surgery, so that's why I'm not going to be talking regularly today, so just forgive me for that. I'm trying to get back up to speed. But this video has been on my mind to make for a while now, and I've been thinking about a lot as I've been bedridden and not able to record. A couple months ago, maybe 4 months ago, I did a video and it was called We Need to Talk About Rachel Zegler. And Rachel Zegler is probably someone that you might know from either the recent West Side Story or the recent Hunger Games, the Shazam movie, or if you don't know her from there, you probably know her from all of the internet hate that she's gotten. And that's what I'm here to talk about today, because I feel that hate has gone way too far, and I'm saying that as someone who made a negative video about her, and I hope that I kind of feel bad about making that video now, but I hope that the fact that I made it maybe gives me some credibility to talk about this. So let's start from the beginning. Why did I make that video about Rachel Zegler in the first place? So this whole thing started with the Snow White movie, and somebody asked me if I was going to comment on the controversy on Disney's new Snow White movie, and I said I just thought in my head no, because I don't really care about it. I don't really care about any of that or any of the controversy around that movie. But here's the thing. The lead in that movie was going to be Rachel Zegler as Snow White, and I'd been following her for a little while, ever since West Side Story, and she had said and done some things that were just a little off-putting to people. There was the situation with the Oscars that's been talked about, that people had questions about. There was, her talking at the Shazam premiere about how she only took the job for the money, and she didn't say anything wrong there. It was just that the way she communicated it was a little off. So, there were just a couple things that she had said that people were just kind of wondering, has she become a little bit of a diva because she's a person who got successful very, very, very quickly. And so it all really blew up when this TikTok compilation went viral over some things that she had said about the Snow White movie and how she was coming across in that video. So I went, I'll do a video, because sometimes I do videos on celebrities and actors and actresses and stuff. And so I'm like, I'll do a video on this. And basically the gist of the video I made is that most of what she's saying about the Snow White movie is just stuff that she's been told to say, stuff about how the whole true love's first kiss thing is like stalking. Like Kristen Bell said the same thing. These are just things that Disney are telling their employees to say, because Disney feels that they need to sort of correct their past a bit, and I don't feel that they need to. But what I was getting at in my video about Rachel is that, it wasn't really so much what she was saying, because she was mainly just saying what she thought she was supposed to say from Disney. It was just how she was saying it that kind of came off as a little, diva-like and awkward. That was what I was trying to get at. At least that's how it was perceived to me. So I made the video, put it out, and I thought maybe it'll get like a couple thousand views, because that's all my channel was getting at the time. And it just blew up, because at the time I did the video, there were no other Rachel Zegler videos out there, but simultaneously as I was putting mine out, a bunch of other people put videos out over it, and it just blew up and became this viral thing, and my video almost got 100,000 views. It was crazy, and I'm like, wow, this whole thing really blew up a whole lot bigger than I expected it to, and I didn't expect this situation to go so viral. And some of the backlash against her was getting just really, really mean, photoshopping her face, and to have tears and snot coming out of it, and I thought it was pretty terrible, and it went further, but I thought, okay, it's just going to be 15 minutes of backlash, and it's going to go away, and everyone's going to move on, and, it'll just be over with, because I started to feel like maybe I shouldn't have done that video because of how big of a thing it became. But time went on, and it wouldn't go away. People kept making videos about her, even though she wasn't saying anything, because the actor strike was going on. She couldn't say anything, and I saw people putting her face on videos that she didn't even have anything to do with. They would just keep using bad pictures of her face for. and photoshopping her face. Then people started telling lies about her, because remember, at the beginning I thought that she came off really bad in that initial video, and so I thought, well, maybe some backlash is deserved, so that it can be known that she didn't come off not very good, and that she can change. Maybe some backlash is good, but it was just going really far. But then some things happened, like there were articles coming out about how she had apparently lost out on the Paddington movie because, that she was being pushed off the Paddington movie. And so I did a community post on it, and I'm like, oh, is this actually getting to her? Is she losing work because of this? But I found out, no, she's not. She's not losing work at Paddington because of this. It was because of a scheduling conflict, because of the SAG strike. The Paddington movie is a part of the British Film Actors Guild. And so that was that. And another thing came out, making it sound like she had lost out of work, but it was really just her film was being shopped around to a different studio. And that is when I really realized that, oh, these articles are coming out telling lies, making it sound like Rachel Zegler is losing work for these reasons when she's not. So even like the written media, the press, was starting to get in on the Rachel Zegler hate, because like I said about that initial video just going everywhere, it all of a sudden became very, very profitable to hate on Rachel Zegler. What started off as some criticism just blew up into this thing that became profitable to hate on her. But something else happened during this time is I started to follow Rachel Zegler more closely on social media and through interviews. And she went on a big press tour for Hunger Games. And, she's going to do lots of interviews, lots of premieres where she's talking publicly. And I watched all this press from her, and she was fine. She was just perfectly fine in these interviews, didn't say anything off-putting, didn't say anything awkward or bad. She was perfectly polite. She was perfectly cordial with the fans of the Hunger Games and wanting to please them. And so then the movie itself came out, and I thought she did a good job in the movie. I mean, I thought that Hunger Games was one of the better movies I've seen this year. I said the only thing that I could have said negatively about Rachel Zegler is, I think I said that I thought that her accent could have been refined a little more. But otherwise, I thought she did great, and I thought she did great in the press tour. And I said that in my review of the film, and in my comments below, there were people saying that everything Rachel Zegler touches is destroyed. She's a horrible, bratty person. She just wrecks everything. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You haven't even seen the film. And like, I've seen Rachel Zegler in every other one of her films, and her acting has never been the problem. I just, at the time, I thought that she just maybe had trouble communicating, or maybe had an attitude problem, but, it was never her acting. But I'm like, but even if she did have an attitude problem, I'm going to talk about that in a second, like, she's not having that now. Why are you still hating on her? And once again, these videos just never stop, just like depicting Rachel Zegler as a vampire, calling her names, lying about her just for clicks. There was just so many videos that have come out lying about her. And so the thing that really was the catalyst for me making this video is Rachel Zegler did this interview with Halle Bailey. They went on the Actors series that happens every year. And in it, there were things that Halle Bailey and Rachel Zegler talked about getting backlash. And in that video, there are things that they were saying that have been taken out of context and all of that. I just want to say, I was talking to people about, going back to that original video that went viral on TikTok of Rachel Zegler and Snow White, that it could have been just a bad press tour, a lot of those clips were just pieced together showing her worst all at once. And, it could have been just a bad press tour. It could have been the fact that if you piece together someone's worst all at once, then yeah, it's going to look bad. But, I'm thinking that I'll get to that in a second, but in terms of the actors thing, Rachel Zegler said some things here, and it was addressing the backlash, and a lot that she's been said has been taken out of context, so she never brought up her backlash. This is a 40-minute interview of Halle Bailey and Rachel Zegler primarily talking about the movies they've just starred in. But for a very 2 to 5 minute period, Rachel Zegler brought up Halle Bailey's backlash. And I saw people on Twitter just hating on Halle Bailey over it. And I'm like, Halle Bailey, she's like the nicest actress ever. If you've seen her in interviews, she always tries to be polite. She always tries to be nice. But I just saw someone just hating on her so bad and making fun of her for in an out of context clip, saying that she's trying to ignore the haters, saying oh, it looks like it really does bother you. If you watch the interview, Halle Bailey says that the backlash does bother her, but that she just needs to learn to ignore it and focus on her work. And what else are you going to say about it? And so Rachel, this stuff only came up once again because Rachel Zegler asked Halle Bailey, and she complimented her about how she handled all the hate she was getting. And because of that, Halle Bailey brought up what was going on with Rachel Zegler and how she was handling herself. And I just want to play the clips for you guys to see what Rachel Zegler actually said.
So, yeah, how has that been for you, being able to navigate it?
Choosing thankfulness and gratefulness is choosing peace. And as much as you'd like to remind people verbally that being in the spotlight doesn't absolve you of your humanity, that you're allowed to have human moments, it doesn't necessarily do what you want it to do, and it fuels them more.
Yes, exactly.
And so, just as you said, it's choosing to be present and know that they're probably just having a really hard day.
Yes.
And I am putting out a movie.
Amen. That's right.
And I feel so thankful for those moments because it started to make me feel like solid Teflon.
Yes.
That it can't really, that nothing can hurt anymore because they've said the worst that can be said, and you just kind of say, thank you so much for this. I have a lot of love in my life.
Yes.
And I'm very thankful.
Amen.
And we get to do our work and have that speak for itself instead.
Did you hear that? Rachel Zegler talked about having human moments. Whenever somebody talks about having human moments, that is them talking about their flaws, talking about mistakes. That's what we mean when we say we're all human. So that is her acknowledging that she doesn't get everything right. She doesn't communicate everything correctly. And what she said later is that when she sees somebody being really, really mean to her, she needs to consider that that person might be just having a bad day. Maybe there's something else that's going on with them to make them so angry and hateful. And you know what she's doing there? That is her giving mercy. That is her giving grace to the people who said these awful things about her. And what else could you ask for a person? That's how you should respond. All of this is how you should respond. But apparently people took that really negatively. Look at these videos that have come out over this interview saying that Rachel Zegler hates you. Rachel Zegler backfires on an apology tour. None of that happened. She's not on an apology tour. She probably was told not to say anything about it. She's not being hateful to anybody or say that she hates anyone. In fact, she didn't even bring any of this up. She was asked about it and said, this is how I handle it to the best of my ability, but I can hear it in her voice that it has gotten to her. And even on social media, somebody pointed out that Tom Blythe is the only actor who's defended her, and she liked that post. You can tell that it has gotten to her, but she's handling it in the best way possible, and she's improved in her PR skills, And so I just, but yet look at all these people who are just continually to bash her and stuff. And I think of the fact that I made my own video on the stuff that she made as I proceeded. And I'm thinking, I've had my own moments where I say things that came out the wrong way, or maybe I hurt someone's feelings when I wasn't intending to. I didn't mean to communicate in this way, or, people make mistakes. I think I get things misinterpreted on the internet all the time. It's like if Rachel Zegler saw my video, she probably thinks I'm a pretty big jerk. But my point about all this is you need to give people grace. You need to give them room to grow and when they make mistakes. Otherwise, what's the purpose of criticism? And all that I can see from Rachel Zegler is that she has improved in interviews, and she's doing well with how she's handling it, at least outwardly. And I'm like, but look at you guys just continuing to bash her and not accepting that. And I know what they would probably say is well, why doesn't she issue an apology? Well, first of all, what exactly exactly is she going to apologize for? Because she was just saying what she thought she was supposed to say from Disney, and she just came across in a way that sounded really bad. But not everybody agrees that she came across in that way. And, you know, with all the lies that have been told and all the exaggeration and twisting of words, it's kind of forgotten what all of this was even about in the first place. And what it was about wasn't even that big a deal. Because, you know, look at other celebrities. Look at Ezra Miller, who allegedly groomed a 15-year-old, threatened multiple people, attacked multiple people. Alec Baldwin, who shot and killed someone. Jonathan Majors, who is on trial right now for domestic violence, and it's not looking good for him with the evidence presented so far. But I don't see 5 million videos about Jonathan Majors, like, you know, photoshopping him with tears coming out of his eyes and as a vampire and drool coming out of its face. But, like, Rachel Zegler was right. One is, yes, she is human. Yes, she's going to make mistakes. And Halle Bailey was right to say that sometimes when somebody is in the public eye, sometimes when you only see them behind a screen, you can forget that they're a human being with feelings, and that's how this stuff goes on too far. But she was also right that if she did directly apologize, it would just add fuel to this. And how do I know that? Well, first of all, look what happened to Halle Bailey. Look what happened to Iman Vellani. They tried to handle the backlash to their films in the most graceful, polite way that they could, and they still had people twisting their words. They still had people photoshopping bad pictures of them. And look what happened to Rachel Zegler in this video. She just talks about it for a few minutes because she was asked. She doesn't say anything directly about it. She handles it in the best way I think she could, and she still has all these videos coming out about her, you know, twisting her words, exaggerating, trying to make her into this Godzilla-like monster, when really all of this, in the first place, it doesn't even really matter. Like, me looking back on the video I made, looking back about what got her into this so-called controversy in the first place, it doesn't matter. And people have done far worse. She is allowed to grow. She is allowed to do better. She is allowed to make mistakes. And, you know, going forward, people are like, but what about Snow White? What about her, what about that movie's going to be terrible? What about her not being white? And I'm like, you know, Rachel Zegler is biracial. She came under fire for West Side Story for not being Colombian enough. And now for Snow White, she's becoming under fire about not being white enough. And it's like, you know, maybe we should just be less obsessed with race. There's been like 4 million adaptions of Snow White. I think we can survive one where the actress wasn't white enough. Like, it's not going to change anything. I don't really care about any of that. It doesn't have to matter. We don't need to get so angry about this stuff. And for me going forward, I'm not going to be making any more of those videos, like, judging celebrities like that, because I've seen how much it can grow into. I will only ever be doing videos on celebrities if they've actually committed a crime, like in the way Ezra Miller did. But no more of that. And for what it's worth, Rachel Zegler is probably going to be just fine in terms of performance in that Snow White movie. I can't say for the rest of the movie, but Rachel Zegler has been fine in all the movies she's been in performance-wise. I will say one last thing about Disney, and critical of them, though, is that they need to start setting up their actresses up for success, because in both the Halle Bailey situation and the Rachel Zegler situation, they put them in situations where they were getting a lot of hate. They made them, you know, with Rachel Zegler's case, they made her say most of what she said. And if The Little Mermaid had been, I think, a much better film, then I think that there would be a lot less space for people to kind of fester that negativity towards Halle Bailey, because she really is. Like, watch interviews with her. She's the nicest person. So I know that this is gonna people are gonna be mad at me for making this video, because people want to continue to be mad at Rachel Zegler and say, oh, she said this in the past, she tweeted this in the past. Doesn't matter. It's in the past. And I would advise, so probably if someone is constantly getting these lies and exaggerations told about her in their feed, then why wouldn't they hate these actresses? Because they're having all of this negativity fed to them constantly. So I would just advise, stop listening to all of that. You'll find there is a lot less to be mad about if you just stop listening to these people who are always trying to spin this stuff. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time.